أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Welcome, Sister Uzma, Sister Saira, Sister Rinda, and Sister Noaisia. And I hope later on more will be joining us, inshallah. I will start our session with slides that I prepared. Sister Uzma will help me and correct me along the way if I misquote anything, inshallah. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So 5D thinking, the motto that they use is read the universe like an elegant book. Inshallah, I hope by the end of this half an hour presentation, you will see what do they mean by this. Okay. I want to start with this very poignant video, which was shared by my dear sister Nazima yesterday. And it struck a chord in my heart very deeply when I saw this.
Why people really leave Islam. There's a lot of confusion as to just why people leave religious groups, and especially what leads ex-Muslims out of the faith. It's not, for example, abusive parents, or cultural alienation, or even hating God. So what are the main reasons people leave Islam? Conflicts between Islam and science. Yes, it's that simple. Unsurprisingly, religious incompatibility with observable reality and the scientific method is a common beeline into questioning and eventually leaving faith.
And the more I learned of science, and it was just basic high school science, nothing spectacular, and learning about evolution, learning about physics, learning about chemistry, that made sense to me, and
and it says in the book that it's right because the book says it's right.
This is even less surprising when we consider that ex-Muslims were about 3 times more likely than the general population to have a STEM degree.
Surveys. It seems that the more you learn science, the more you see that God makes no sense to them. They were claiming that religious incompatibility with the observable realities is the main reason why people left Islam. And this video was from a YouTube channel. I'm not going to even mention the YouTube channel name, but it's actually for ex-Muslim. And then I went on and read. It was very disturbing. It was hard to read it, but yeah, I had to brace my teeth. So if some of the comments that really struck a chord in me was like this. For example, this guy say that it is not logical. Islam is illogical and unscientific. And some was saying that he is scientifically literate. Therefore, he sees that Islam is mind, and talking about questioning is upon. I guess we can't really disagree with that. Most of our learned ones also were not really trained how to handle questioning. And then like this one, because I have a young daughter, and this is also very disturbing to me. This lady is 20-year-old. She said, I want to leave Islam, but I am scared of my family. And then the replies to this, there were 67 replies. and some
Gave
gave her a
her a
very
very
okay. Some gave her very bad advice, like, yeah, just stop practicing. Are you still wearing your hijab? And she said, yeah, not exactly hijab, but I am supposed to just slightly cover my head. Thank God my family isn't too much. She's still thanking God. I removed after I am out. I don't like the hijab. So that's very sad. And then there's another one that really scares me, because I have my eldest is studying Alim right now in South Africa, and this gentleman said, I am an Alim, Maulana, from Bangladesh. I learned Quran and Hadith deeply, but at last I came out of from my belief. Now I am, an ex. That is very alarming, very sad, and disturbing. So the question is, why? Why are people leaving? And most are blaming that Islam is incompatible with sciences or the realities. So if I may, I want us to go back to when during our days of learning sciences, we look at all these amazing things, right? From the photosynthesis process, or how our red blood cells work, how our cells, our mitochondria is the power cell of the human, all the micro biology. We learned a lot, but did we see what did we see while we were learning this? Did we see the greatness of Allah? Or we just learn this, just learn the facts for the sake of learning, for the sake of passing exam, and that is just it? Could it be that is the reason why people who supposedly to be smart and having STEM degrees more living Islam as they learn science more and more?
وكأين من آية في السماوات والأرض يمرون عليها وهم عنها معرضون.
In Surah Yusuf 105, Allah said that how many signs in the heavens and the earth do they pass by with indifference? Signs. Allah said He had put and He had created so many signs everywhere for us, and yet we just pass them by with indifference. We don't look, we don't ponder, we don't study, we don't bother to find out what is it that Allah is trying to tell us with all these signs. So Allah refers to His creations as signs, right? So why does He use the word signs? Sign is to give guidance for people who wants to go somewhere. If we want to go to a certain place, we look for the signage, right? To the left or to the right. So Allah has started all these signs on the earth, and yet they pass by with indifference. Who are they? Are we they? When we learn the sciences and we did not look at it as the signs from Allah, created by Allah to manifest His attributes to us, to make us learn to know Him more and to draw lessons from it. Isn't this ayat talking about us? the one who supposedly know all the sciences, and yet we cannot see the creator of all these sciences? There's another ayat that also hits deeply.
إن شر الدواب عند الله الصم البكم الذين لا يعقلون.
Indeed, the worst of all beings in the sight of Allah are the willfully deaf and dumb who do not understand. So Allah already defined here that the worst of all beings is not Iblis. The worst of all beings are those who are given the sights, the hearing, the aql, and all these faculties, and yet they willfully choose to be deaf and to be dumb, and they do not understand. So when we read this and we ponder sincerely, are we included in this kind that Allah defined as the worst of all beings that He's created? Na'uzubillah min zalik. But if we choose to turn our ears, our sights and hearing away from the signs of Allah, what this ayat talking about is?
They cannot go into learning. So this is the verse of the Quran which we use as the motto of the 5D thinking model. It's from Surah Anfal. It says, indeed the worst of living who do not think.
This is Dr. Sabah, one of the core team of 5D dimensional thinking.
How powerful that verse is. So that's why the whole 5D thinking model is actually, it's like that verse is like the gist of the whole 5D thinking model. We have 5 steps of thinking in a structured way, in a very systematic way, and we begin with the analytical thinking dimension. Then we have the analogical thinking dimension, the critical thinking dimension, meditative thinking dimension, and the moral thinking dimension. Inshallah, this will become clear.
This was
So
taken
now we
from
look
our
at the
last week training in Malaysia. The team was in Malaysia to conduct several trainings, alhamdulillah. So that ayat was the pinnacle of what 5D thinking is. So this team has been working hard since the last decade, and especially since the last 3 years, to create a curriculum to basically... Oh, you cannot hear me. I'm sorry. Any chance of increasing the volume? Is it my voice or the video?
No, it's fine. I can hear you.
Okay, sorry, I was far away
I
from
can
the...
hear you.
Okay. So this team has been working hard since the past decades, trying to think about how to make us undumb us, no longer deaf, no longer... we won't be included, inshallah, from those that Allah said is the worst of the beings. So in the past 3 years, they have come out with a very robust curriculum, alhamdulillah, from kindergarten till grade 8, I believe. And everything is ready, and all the steps, all the 5 steps that mentioned by Dr. Sabah is very robust. Alhamdulillah, I've tried it. And even for a few lessons, I've already seen some positive responses in my students. I like this analogy that's given by Sister Uzma in our class about Islamization versus integration. So the analogy used was about a cake. Yeah, the top, this is a cake. It's not a hat, okay? It's a cake. It's like a wedding cake, embellished wedding cake with all these glitters and flowers, icing on top. But when you take a piece, a bite in it, it doesn't really taste like a cake. Compared to a normal sponge cake that has all the right ingredients in it, all the right essence, and you eat it and you know that it's a cake. It tastes like a cake. So basically, that is what makes Islamization and internalization different. So yes, we have all, especially in Malaysia, we have all these integrated Islamic school that have all the academics subjects, and then they have maybe in the afternoon or in the early morning all the Diniyah subjects also being taught, but all of them are being taught in silos, not integrated really. The only thing integrated is the building, right? But the curriculum is not integrated. What does it mean? It means like if they study science, they just study science. They don't see Allah in it. If they study geography, they just study geography. They don't see Allah in it. And then if they study Diniyah subject, tafsir, tadabbur, or hafs, or fiqh, they don't see the science. So it's segregated. It's not really integrated. It's not internalization. Rather, it's Islamization. We are sprinkling dalils here and there, Quran here and there, and hadith here and there, just to make it look Islamic. But is it really Islamic? A book written by a former dean of Harvard College titled Excellence Without a Soul described images that modern educational system nurtures excellence, which means only excellent in aql, but destroy the human soul. So we have excellence without soul. We have people who are very intelligent, supposedly, and yet they are deaf and blind and they don't understand, like the Quran mentioned. And in our class, Dr. Nachati used the analogy of a tree or an uprooted tree. So when we see an uprooted tree, obviously, it's obvious for us, the first thing that comes to mind, what makes the tree fall? Of course, it's the external forces from the wind, from from tornado or whatnot. But essentially, the roots is problematic. It's not strong enough to hold the tree against all these external forces, right? So either the roots are too shallow, or it's gotten sick, or it's not received enough nutrition to make it strong or deep. So with this analogy, we further look into the difference between two types of tree. One, which is connected to the nutrients, to the right kind of soil, to enough water, sunlight, versus a tree that is disconnected from the nourishing source or even poisoned. So obviously, both three are not going to be producing the same kind of result, right? So the tree that's connected to the source will flourish, inshallah, and will bear fruits, will give shades, will provide shelter. But on the other hand, the trees that is disconnected from the nourishing source or poisoned will not be as strong or as beneficial as the other one. So with this analogy, we are saying that in our children's education, if we circularize the subject that they are learning, and then which means disconnected it from the real source. And then we poison it with all the ism. What kind of ism? Well, they have atheism, pluralism, deism, hedonism, individualism, naturalism, materialism. What they did, what they're doing, what they have done and are still doing, are trying to disconnect all knowledge from the real source and then misconnected it to all this false source, all these false gods. They want to call it as nature, or is because they have the right condition, materials, then it happens. Or just like the Big Bang, it just happened because it is. You know, there's an element of chance in there. So they're trying to explain all these amazing phenomena that Allah has created. They disconnected it from Allah and they replace it, misconnecting it to other things so that it makes sense to our akal, our intellect. But if we were to teach all the subjects connected to the right source in the right way by guiding our children step by step in their thinking process, and eventually they will come up to their own conclusion that there is indeed a mighty and powerful, omnipotent being out there that not only created this phenomena, but maintain it as Rob all the way, every minute of the way. Not only that will create, that will invoke a sense of awe in the children, but they will also want to, I want to know this supreme being. I want to get to know him because he's so awesome. So essentially, if you do that, then naturally we no longer hear the question, why am I learning this, mommy? Why am I learning this? I remember when I was in high school, I was asking myself, I was having a hard time learning physics, chemistry. And I said, why am I learning this? It's not even going to be asked in my grave. Why? Because I did not see the sense of studying so hard, except for scoring A's to get good grades so that I can get into good university and get a degree and get a good job and yada, yada, yada. So 5D thinking basically is trying to fix that connection problem, the disconnection from the right source and the misconnection from all the other taghouts, all the other false god. So 5D thinking solution for the modern education is we still learn sciences. We still observe and study and research on all these amazing scientific facts, but we imbue in it also the need to learn about the creator of all these amazing phenomena and to draw lessons from it, because just Allah said in the Quran, I made these signs for you, right? So there must be a reason, a purpose of why Allah make the embryo is such, or the photosynthesis as such. There must be something that we have to learn from it. So when we take all those into account and we carefully eliminate the secular ideology in it, then inshallah we will have excellence with soul, excellence with faith, excellence with good characters. Somebody with a bright mind, with good heart, and also with excellent skills, inshallah. And so essentially, in short, that is what 5D thinking is. There are 5 steps. So in this chart, If you, I will try to briefly, because we spent many days, many hours discussing each steps to understand. But what we started with being disconnected, as I said, the problem is the problem of connection, right? We were disconnected from the real source, and then we were misconnected to the taghouts, to the false god, all these things that they created, trying to explain the phenomena that we are studying. And so we start with the first step, which is to explore. The purpose of this step is to invoke analytical thinking. So we use our senses to analyze all the phenomena. For example, if you're looking at photosynthesis, what are the facts of photosynthesis? What is the process that involved in it? And while we're discussing that, all the facts, we are being very mindful of the languages that we use, so that it doesn't attribute, it doesn't give credit, it doesn't give a sense of agency to all the mahlooks. So we have to reword things in the in the science book that's really directly misconnected to the taghouts. We have to get rid of that. So this is one of the key things that we learn in level 1. And then after that, we compare analogical. This is for analogical thinking. For this step, at first I was confused when I went through the website before I joined in the level 1. And I was like, why would we need to do this second step? I don't understand. What is the purpose of comparing God-created phenomena with a man-made thing of the same function? But after I learned in Istanbul, Alhamdulillah, I can see that analogical thinking is very powerful in bringing immediate and more sustainable understanding to the students, because when we use a real life common things that they are familiar with, it makes much more sense to them. Because at this step, we're basically comparing the two, a man-made one and a God-made one. And then we will try to see what are the similarities and the differences. After we've seen that, and then we go to the second step, which is the critical thinking, and we will start asking questions to the children about if it takes this much amount of effort, intelligence, will, power, resources, coordination to create this man-made thing. Now, can we say that the phenomena that we just studied just now, which we just found by itself, can we say that it is just there naturally? It just happened by chance? At this point, when we start asking this question and discuss with the children, it becomes clearer to the children that is impossible. It cannot just pop up by itself, right? I cannot just have this toy just appear. It takes, the delivery man to send it to me. It takes the factory to make it. It takes a designer to design it, to think about how this robot can move. So if that much of effort is required for a man-made thing, then what about us? Who created us compared to this robot? Right? So that is the critical thinking question. So when the realization, so this is when we start correcting and connecting to the right source. So we did not introduce Allah in the beginning. In my years of teaching, I normally start with Allah first. I say, Allah Al-Khaliq created the sun. Allah Al-Khaliq created the butterfly, and the butterfly life cycle, things like that. But apparently, if I were to start with that, I was essentially spoon feeding them information, and I did not invoke any kind of critical thinking, analytical thinking, or analogical thinking in them. So they just swallow what I tell them blindly, and therefore they don't really feel the awesomeness, the greatness of the creation or the creator. After we've done step 1, step 2, step 3, and then we will connect them through meditative thinking. This is where we introduce Asma'ul Husna. So for example, if we would study the butterfly, then we would say that when we look at the butterfly is so beautiful. It reminds us that Allah is Al-Jamil. Butterfly is so gentle. It reminds us of Allah Al-Halim. Before they became butterfly, they were caterpillars, and they would just munch and munch and munch and munch. Very obedient, very patient, Allah Al-Sabur. So all this Asma'ul Husna, when you link it to what they were learning from the beginning, it brings meaning to the child. Then they really can understand the essence of the divine names. And at this stage also, we have an activities with the children to get them to think about interconnectivity and interdependencies of the subject that we were learning. For example, the butterfly example, we would ask them, in order for this butterfly to survive, what does it need? Then, yeah, it needs water. What does the water need? Oh, it needs the right temperature. If it's too high, then it will all dry up. Yeah, where does the water come from? Rain. So what does rain need? Well, rain need the water cycle. Rain also need gravity, and we need the sunlight from the sun, or the butterfly get food from flowers. The flowers need soil. The soil needs water again, and it also needs the worms to work, to irrigate the soil. And then it also needs the mushroom to decompose all the dead leaves so that the soil got its nutrients, yada, yada, yada. So when you list it out, and the children will be, oh, wow, just for this tiny butterfly, it takes a whole lot of things all the way to outside of your universe, even if you really, really go in depth. So the point of this exercise is, again, the keyword is interconnectivity and interdependencies. So you cannot go away from drawing a conclusion that the maker of a butterfly should also be the maker of the sun, should also be the maker of the water, should also be the sustainer of the water cycle system. It should also be the sustainer of the worm inside the soil. It should, he should be the one that controls everything. Right? So this is the essence of Tawheed. So now that the children are connected and they see the greatness of the creation, they feel the greatness of the Creator, they are connected to the source. And we conclude our lesson with step 5, which is moral thinking. We call it appreciate step. And this is where we ask the questions like, what kind of character lessons do you see or can you draw from studying the butterfly life cycle, for example? Then you say, okay, I learned to be patient like the caterpillar. Everything has its own time, everything has its own space. I have to learn how to be patient. I also have to learn how to be soft and gentle. I have to learn how to be beautiful inside and out. And this is also when we can find related, relevant ayat from our Quran and a relevant hadith or even a relevant seerah from Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, or which particular sunnah or adab that he has, that when you look at the butterfly, which particular sunnah that reminds you of the butterfly. Or for example, when we were studying photosynthesis, one student said, "Oh, it reminds me of how Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam always turned the negative into positive, just like the plant was designed by Allah to take in carbon dioxide and produce oxygen. So take the bad and make the best out of it, of the situation." So subhanallah. So you can see how this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 step, 5-dimensional thinking really complete the lesson in a way that not only the child learns about scientific facts, but also end the lesson with a character that they can learn from. Okay, I'm checking the time right now. It's already 37 minutes past. I was planning just to talk about 30 minutes. So this is just an overview of an example of the life cycle of the butterfly I just mentioned just now. But if you go through the level 1 training, which is inshallah, I will maybe Sister Uzma can take over later on and talk about the upcoming trainings that's available. It's mashallah, it's really mind-blowing, and you will see how, okay, Sister Uzma just posted in the chat the information, thank you, about the upcoming classes that we have. We have 2 modes. One is online, and the due date is coming soon, right, Sister Uzma? I think it's tomorrow.
Inshallah, it's starting tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, because we want to start soon, and those are the dates. These are online, and then we have also on-site, which I highly recommend because it's a truly immersive experience. And you can really focus, be with like-minded people and with all these awesome teachers, alhamdulillah. And this one is from 15th until 19th April. It's Shawwal. So application is open. And after you've completed the level 1, then inshallah you will be able to use the textbooks materials, which is ready all the way to grade 8. Or you can sign up on the LMS system, which I did for my students. And if I can just take 2-3 more minutes before I hand over to Sister Uzma to explain about the training, I just want to show you an example of how I corrected some of the secularized terms that my student has been, used to. I mean, all of us is a victim of the secularization, right? And my students, they are required to do research and then come back and do a presentation. And slowly, we have to teach them how to identify what kind of terms that we have to be careful of and try not to use it. So be mindful that by this time, we only learned about 3 lessons on the LMS system. And the 3rd lesson was about teeth. In these slides, you guys say the teeth are adapted to tear, cut, grind, and chew. We cannot use the word adapted because adapted meaning it was originally designed one way, but then somehow the teeth or the animal managed to redesign the teeth by itself to suit its diet. Is that possible?
No.
No, right? So instead of adapted, okay, can you skip the slides? Can you replace the word adapted with what? What is a better word for it? What is a better word for it? Can somebody suggest instead of adapted? What can we say? Siapa yang buat ni?
Design.
Design, exactly. Okay. So you have to replace. You escape sekejap, Inshira. Escape the slides. Okay. Alright. So replace the word adapted with design. So because if we say adapted, we are giving, we are giving credit to the animal itself or the teeth itself, which is impossible, can? Alright, better. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, carry on.
Okay, kan about but there is a type of fish called a lamprey that uses it is for a different purpose. There are type of carnivorous fish such as
And then this
for animals.
7-year-old Wise, who also did about teeth, and then he connected the Asma Usna that he can relate to while researching about teeth.
To eat with. Alba created teeth to eat with ease.
MashaAllah.
Al-Musawi created different type of teeth.
True.
Adil. Allah created the right teeth for the right animal.
MashaAllah.
Al-Ahad created unique teeth for different animals.
MashaAllah, I love it. I love them all.
Okay,
Subhanallah.
but we have to continue presenting after the.
Okay. And yeah, there's more. Okay, so I stopped sharing the slide right now, and I want to open up for question and answer. Or before question and answer, Miss Uzma, do you want to add anything or correct anything in my presentation?
Assalamualaikum everyone. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I know, mashallah, you did a great job. Alhamdulillah. So Sister Sheila attended our on-site Istanbul workshop in December and January, the last few days of December, early January this year. And mashallah, since she got back to Malaysia, she's been on a mission. She's been a 5D brand ambassador. And I think you did a great job. You explained it so nicely, mashallah, in a very simple way. And I'm going to steal your slides. I love them. Alhamdulillah. So I've just shared in the chat the online session that we are doing starting tomorrow. It's 3 days. We actually do have 12 hours of instruction for the level 1 course because it's very, we go through a lot of background information, and really we unpack and unlearn all the things that we have been taught since we were little about, and the secular mindset that we have developed. We need to basically unlearn so many things. So that's why the course is intensive, but I don't think anyone who's gone through it has not found it transformative for them in some way or another. And most people do say that it's like eye surgery. It's like being able to see the world from a completely different lens. And also the 5D method, the structure of it also allows homeschoolers and teachers to really be able to easily take any topic and link it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a very structured way. But as Sister Sheila said, not just link it, but through a process of discovering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and really getting to know his names in a very beautiful and profound way. So mashallah, that was a really nice explanation, Sister Sheila. Jazakallah khair. And I would urge you to, if you're interested in really upping your game as a teacher or as a homeschooling mother, to really come and investigate what we're doing. And even if you're not too sure if you want to enroll in the first one, just fill in the form and I will send you the Zoom link and you can join the first session and see how you like it. And if you want to continue, then that's up to you. We'd love to have you there. Okay, that's it for me.
Okay, thank you so much, Uzma, mashallah. And thank you for, you're very busy and yet you take the time off to join our chat. Alhamdulillah. Does anybody have any question for Sister Uzma or for me? No question. No critical question for us. Yes, Sister Minna. Go ahead.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah khair for this presentation. It's really, really interesting, mashallah. Um, I'm really into this thinking of how we get Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in every teaching that we teach the kids, which is really amazing. My question is, you've shown us how to link the butterfly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and how we can do this whole cycle. Is there, what I would say, is there like a book or something that helps us to take every lesson with the kids rather than us having to spend the time of doing that linking before we teach the kids about this topic?
So Sister Sheila showed the slides of our book. So we've been working on the books for over a year now. Alhamdulillah, we have got kindergarten to grade 3 published. And we are, just working on grade 4 and 5 and 6 right now. So we do intend to publish that very, very soon. And what we did is we looked at curriculums from around the world and we selected all the common topics that, you'd find whether you're in America, UK, South Africa, India, Australia, wherever you are. We've mapped the curriculums and we've selected the topics and we have written each topic in the 5D method. And, we have teacher's notes embedded within the workbook as well. And there's activities, so it's a full package. And anyone who undergoes our level 1 training can very, very easily use that resource and use the way in which we frame the questions in our analogical thinking part, in our critical thinking part. It really can help you to basically teach any subject. And after a while, you'll notice that you yourself are able to look at everything through a 5D lens, and you can start to make your own lessons. So in our experience, we've had teachers who are English teachers or history teachers or Arabic teachers, and they come to us and they say, oh, look, I made a 5D lesson for my topic, even though the books that we have right now are just science only. But we're seeing that, mashallah, from taking on that lens, that perspective, people are able to write, articles, topics themselves as well on all sorts of subjects. And we have actually started our work on mathematics and social sciences as well. I was actually just checking something right now, a very beautiful analogy given for ecosystems about food distribution in the world and the unequal food distribution through capitalism, and comparing it to show how in an ecosystem, how everything is so balanced by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it was really nicely done. Sister Nadine has done that presentation. And I was just looking at that while you were talking, Sister Sheila. MashaAllah, it was great. So we are exploring all the topic areas, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair. This is really interesting, mashallah. And I'm having a look at the books now. I can see them on Amazon. So Jazakallah khair.
Yeah, they are on Amazon. Like myself, I use the LMS, which is also equally good, and it takes an immense of burden off my shoulder of trying to think about, what to teach. On the LMS, they have the PowerPoint ready and all the links to all the necessary videos from YouTube, and they also have the assessments ready, or you can also able to customize your own lesson inside. If you want to add more activities or assignments, you are able to do that too. So both the books and the LMS are very, very useful, alhamdulillah, and they have thought about this since the past 3 years to build such a robust and a wholesome curriculum, alhamdulillah. Somebody asked about, can I really share the link from Amazon for the books? Hadith want the Amazon link for the books. Do you have, Sister?
I'll find it.
Okay, any other question? Some of the participants here, I believe, have attended some of the training. So if you have any other question, feel free to ask. Okay, the link for the books
And share the kindergarten one. If you just type in science secrets in 5 steps, you'll get all the others as well, inshallah.
That's the keyword. Don't look for 5D thinking, right? Look
Yeah.
for science secrets.
Science secrets in 5 steps, yeah. And really, even the title of the book, Science Secrets. So what we want to do is uncover the secrets that science is holding, rather than just taking the lies that are being told to us by secular science, that everything is natural or caused by something or happens through random chance. We discover that the secret of everything around us is that everything is meticulously created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we discover it through deep thinking and through deep reflection and through really investigating the universe around us in the way that we are supposed to be investigating it, through nadar, the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says to reflect through and think deeply about something. Not just think, but think deeply through nadar.
If I may, I just want to share just my last slides before we end our call. It's the same slide that I shared earlier on, but when I shared it in the beginning, you did not know about what 5D thinking was, right? But now looking at this with a fresh understanding, a new understanding of 5D thinking, because that is exactly what happened to me. When I look at this ayat and I look at this video, it just sounds different. It feels different to me. So I'm just going to play the ayat again.
وكأين من آية في السماوات والأرض يمرون عليها وهم عنها معرضون.
So I hope from now on, when we see a wasp trying to build a nest, we will stop and try to see what are the signs. We have to ask ourselves, what attributes, which divine names of Allah that I see in this phenomena right in front of my eyes, like this particular wasp in the middle. He's so into it. He's building it piece by piece by piece from his mouth, trying to protect those the babies inside, right? And he's so focused on what he's doing. He knows what he was created for. So the question to me when I see this video, when I read this ayat, do I know what my purpose is for on earth? Why was I brought down on earth? And why was I given all this nikmah? Do I know? And am I as dedicated, as focused, as, as these wolves? Or these wolves is a lot better than me? Because I still don't know why am I here. So I hope that all of you, please take the time to look into 5D thinking and pray to Allah to open up ways for you to gain these very valuable skills, not only for your children, it's actually for ourselves first. And then inshallah, we'll help the others, our loved ones in our family, and then our friends, our neighbors, and inshallah, the whole nation and the whole ummah eventually. May Allah choose us, may Allah allow us, and may Allah accept from us. Okay. Anything else, Sister Uzma, before we end?
No, Jazakallah khair for that wonderful conclusion. And inshallah, I look forward to seeing people who are here, inshallah, in future sessions. Inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay. With that, I end the session. Thank you so much, everybody. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Assalam.